Well, hello, hello. Welcome to Sarah's Crafty Time. This week we will embark on part one of a relatively ambitious project. I've been practicing embroidery for a few years now, and I've grown more confident with my hand stitching. I decided I wanted to expand that knowledge and try hand sewing a garment for myself. To keep things simple, I've decided to make a skirt that closes at the front with buttons. I found a pattern online for only a few dollars that seemed to fit the bill for the general length I want, and it includes a few darts and pleats so I can challenge myself. I wanted to make this skirt themed to add some design as well as entertainment for myself, so I plan to keep this celestial. I'm not sure yet if I want to incorporate zodiac symbols, constellations, or both quite yet, but I did find some nice navy blue corduroy and a starry themed satin to use as an inner lining. This pattern, along with many others sold online, requires the user to print it out on multiple sheets, then arrange the sheets in order to cut out the pattern. The test square shown here is 10 centimeters by 10 centimeters, and that was correct, but I still found that the front and the back pieces weren't the same length. This realization, as well as my lack of confidence, pushed me to make what's called a mock-up. I found some cotton fabric in my stash that I hadn't planned to use yet, and I cut out all of the pieces shown in the pattern. I wasn't sure how much tolerance to give myself for seam allowance, so I decided to cut out the largest size in the pattern since it's 2 sizes larger than my measurements. As for the back of the skirt, there are some darts, where you can see there's a triangle cut out on either side of this pattern, and you would just sew them together like any other seam. Since I'm not interested in a high-low skirt for this design, I decided to add some length to the front pieces to ensure that it would line up with the back piece. I don't have footage of how to assemble the pleating quite yet, but I will once I have the actual skirt construction. At this point, I was able to pin together all the seams and try on my mock-up. Boy, was I glad I did this. I think the general size is good for me, and I like the length of the skirt, but I have made some mistakes that I can hopefully avoid with my real fabric. The first mistake I made was that I didn't mirror the front skirt pattern from left to right. So this offset the front pleat from the center line, and it makes it look like the skirt isn't on straight when it really is. And I didn't account for the waistband when I cut out the pieces originally. What I have on is kind of cobbled together pieces of fabric, but for my actual one, I would like the waistband to be all one piece. With that, I'm ready to break out my real fabric and get sewing. Be sure to join me next time as I start cutting out my fabric, sewing the pleats and darts, and assembling the pieces. Happy crafting!